I walked into this supermarket yesterday and I saw a girl that I was really attracted to. And what ended up happening is I was like, I really wanted to talk to her. I was like, oh shit, I want to say hi. And for someone at my level who's pretty veteran at this stuff, I mean, I've been talking to girls for 15, 20 years and pretty good at doing this, given the experience that I've had and the confidence and just the general results, and results breed more confidence. But in this instance, I was actually really nervous about speaking to her. And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, I know it's not normal to approach a girl in a grocery store or in a supermarket, but you never know where you're going to meet your potential wife or your potential girlfriend or someone that you're really going to engage with. So I chickened out on the first attempt. And then as I was walking around, and I felt terrible. I was like, oh man, I feel so bad. I'm like, I'm such a loser. How could I not walk up to this beautiful girl? And then as I was walking around the supermarket, I bumped into her again. And I was like, oh, do I do it now? Do I do it now? Oh, I better do it. Oh, I should say something. And I hesitated again. The second time, I hesitated twice. And it felt like shit. Genuinely, it felt like shit. Felt terrible. Felt like a loser. And I was like, come on, I've done all these things in my life. And now I can't even do this. I can't even say hi to a girl in a supermarket, in a grocery store. I mean, how difficult is that to do? Why is it? What is that trap in our brain that stops us from just saying hello to someone? Why? What is that fear? What's that weird fear in your mind that's holding you back? It's an awfully strange feeling. Anyway, the story gets better. I bump into her a third time and I'm like, dude, you gotta do something. You've gotta do something now. You've gotta say something. Come on, do it. And I chickened out again. And I kind of hovered around the area. I was like picking out some apples. And then I noticed she was with a friend and she was picking something out, whatever it was, cheese. And I was looking over and I was like, oh God, here we go again. Like, oh, I've just made a meal of this yet again. There's 3 occasions I failed to walk up to her. Now, what happened is I got to the till and her friend were 2 people in front of me. Now they had paid and then they'd got just past the till and they were packing their bags up. And then the 2 people in front of me had very limited products, so they got finished quite quickly. And then I ended up, this was like the universe testing me, this was like God testing me. Like, here you go, I'm gonna put it in front of you again, consistently testing me every single time. And so as I paid for my products and and they were picking up their bags and were about to leave. And at this point I had just paid for my products and we were like side by side at this point. And it was just a split second. I turned around and I said, hey, you girls seem pretty cute. Are you guys Hungarian? It was like a terrible line, right? It didn't make any sense. It was a stupid thing to say, but it didn't matter. The point was, it didn't matter what I said. It was how I said it and the confidence and the body language and the way I portrayed it. And I portrayed it pretty well. I wasn't like, oh, hello. I was like, oh, you guys seem really cute. Like, are you Hungarian by any chance? It's just like a weird, stupid thing to say. And they were like, no, we're Polish. Next thing you know, I'm having this 1 or 2 minute quick conversation. Oh, what are you girls here to do? Oh, great. Oh, I'm a digital nomad. I'm here in Budapest for the month working with a friend. Didn't get into too much detail about why I'm in Budapest and what my line of work is. I was like, oh, girl, you girls seem cool. You obviously got a heavy bag to carry back to the house. I could have offered to carry the bag back to theirs, but I just didn't want to seem that desperate or I didn't want to be overbearing or do too much. So I was like, cool. Well, why don't you take my Instagram and maybe we can meet up and have a coffee or something. It'd be cool to see you guys again. Super simple. And I think that's the problem is that, men think that they need to say something spectacular to win the girl over. And I felt like I needed to say something spectacular to gain their attention or to gain their attraction. But the point is that I just had to get over myself. I was my own obstacle in that instance. I just had to say, hey, how's your day going? Or hey, I'm trying out this new diet at the moment. Do you think that I should eat, do you think I should get the apples, or do these apples look a little bit like waxy and not very organic? It doesn't really matter what you say at the beginning. It just matters that you break the ice. And I found it fascinating that, a man in my position, who is a veteran at this game, by the way, I've approached thousands of women in my lifetime and had fantastic success with beautiful women across the board, across the world, in a kind of universal confidence, in a universal way of proving to myself that I can do this anywhere, anytime. But yesterday, I was out of practice, and I was like, oh God, I was so nervous. And I know that a lot of you fellas have that exact feeling. Because if I had that feeling, then you definitely have that feeling as well. And so breaking the ice after the fourth time of seeing her and being constantly tested, and I feel like, God will continually, and the universe will continually test you. By the way, God, universe, whatever, same thing in this context, will continually test you and show you the same lessons until you prove that you can pass those tests. And yesterday, after the fourth attempt, I proved that I can actually pass the test and say something. And then what ended up happening after that is she ended up adding me on Instagram. And funny, because 2 hours later, her friend followed me on Instagram. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then I ended up messaging saying, hey, it was nice to meet you girls, as random as it was. And then she texted me back that evening like, yeah, it was random, haha. So there's some interest there, and the way they were smiling and interacting with me obviously showed that they're interested. They weren't trying to get away from me. They weren't completely freaked out. I asked where they were from. They were like, oh, we're from Poland. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, where do you think I'm from? Play a bit of a game, a bit of fun. And they were like, oh, Italian? And I was like, no, you can you not tell where I'm from? And she was like, oh, British. And I was like, yeah, exactly. So, it wasn't really what I said. It was just the fact that I went for it and did it. I was more proud of myself than proud of, picking up these one or two girls. It wasn't about the actual nature of picking up these two girls or meeting up with them and sleeping with them. It's about getting over myself, getting over that obstacle. Now that I've done that, today I'm more likely, if I see another beautiful girl, I'm more likely to just go for it and be like, right, had that instance yesterday, I learned from it, got to go back in there and just have to do it. And so ultimately I want the same for you, my guys. Like, I don't want you sitting there like having to swipe on Tinder all the time or sending a bunch of Instagram DMs. There are so many different ways to, as the British say, skin the cat. There are so many different ways that you can, that's a horrible saying, by the way, isn't it? Why the hell would you want to skin a cat? There are so many different ways that you can approach these scenarios, and you're talking to a girl in a coffee shop, talking to a girl on the street, talking to a girl in a supermarket, and you'll be like, oh, girls don't want to get approached. Bullshit. Yes, they do. They do want to get approached. They want to be approached by the right guy. They want to be approached by an attractive, handsome guy. They want to be approached by someone with confidence. And okay, fine, you might not be the most attractive guy on the planet, but if you walk up with confidence, you'll make her day, and you just don't know what kind of response you're going to get. Some of the men I know that get the best results are not the most attractive men. I'm telling you that right now. I know a guy in Miami who gets the best results, who is absolutely not attractive, a little bit older, pretty much balding, but has the confidence and just talks to people and is just like quite nice about things and talks to girls wherever they might be. And so it's a real skill and an art that this guy's been able to get down to the T. And so I wanted to make this video really just to prove to you that even a man in my position will still be nervous and still be a bit worried about approaching a woman in that kind of scenario. But, I got over myself and I just did it. And I felt so much better after actually doing it. And you're going to feel the same thing. So, just go for it. Honestly, just go for it. Like, who cares? We're all going to be dead one day, and we're going to regret the things that we didn't do. And the amount of times I've walked past certain women and been like, oh, God, she's gorgeous, and done nothing about it. I'm never going to see her again. And what am I doing? Just go for it, bro. And so whatever I'm saying to myself here, I'm also saying to you guys, just go for it, man. Like, if you see something you like, realize that there are other men who are also very good at doing this stuff, who are also nervous. Like, dude, we're all nervous, but we just get past that nervous barrier and just take the plunge. And that's what I did yesterday. And I'm really bloody glad I did it.